like the wings of a dove. Softer is my love. For you I'd live. Anything I give, no pain will I bring. Only sunshine, no rain. I love you always.
I was born in the Delta of Mississippi, right where the blues started, Clarksdale, Mississippi. I grew up there until I was 9 years old. After my grandmother passed away, my mother and I moved to a smaller town in the Delta called Leland, Mississippi. When I was growing up, black kids didn't dream. We wished for things, and we wished things away. And because of the negative racial environment and the Jim Crow laws that we were subjected to, people did not encourage us to dream. But I got blessed with a great mother who encouraged me to stand up and to dream. My mother actually allowed me to be different. I left home for New York to live with my mother's sister, my Aunt Lucille, as my mother felt that I was outgrowing the life and restrictions of the racist South. Moving to New York at 16 years of age was frightening and could be dangerous for a young Southern boy. I needed help to navigate and to guide me through the gangs, the drugs, and the street life. I found the help and father that I never had in my wife's father, Clarence Taylor. Pops took me in and showed me the way to go. Judy's mother made me a part of the family and all of that. And without all of that, I would not be here today. Those people, especially my mother and Rudy, gave me my life's baseline in which to follow and to stay true to. The most important piece of a person's life is family. Judy and I met at a house party in Hollis, Queens on December 29, 1966. We have seen or talked to each other every day since then. We've been in high school when Judy was 15 and I was 16. We have 4 children, and now we have 4 grandchildren. We have been happily married for 42 years. And so commitment is important. I pride myself on the fact that I have been 2 parents. I have been not only a father that helps to give children life into the world, but I have been a dad also. And that means that I made a commitment to always be there and never waver in those roles. People are known to deliberately and maliciously fool and deceive one another. They do this to gain a leg up on people that they consider to be their competition, their enemy. And so in many cases, they even do this to their friends and family members. As black people in America, we do it to our own race. When one of us becomes successful, we generally leave the rest of our people behind. But worse than all of this is that we as Americans who are black have fooled ourselves into believing that we are, quote, black Americans. You know, like Irish Americans, Italian Americans, and so on. This is not true. We think that we have arrived and that we can be lax and complacent and cheat like everybody else, and that we can be a part of the crowd. We are not. We are not part of the crowd. We are children of Dr. King. And what do I mean by that? We believe in the good and fairness for all people, as Dr. King did, because he taught us that. We are his children. And because we grew up in the shadow of Dr. King and what he stood for and what he represented to us, we are unaware when others wish to do us harm or to leave us out and to deceive us. During the civil rights struggle here in America, black people were seeking equal rights, not as some think black rights, but equal civil rights and justice under the law as prescribed under the Constitution of the United States. While others here in this country were being denied, abused, and misused, these actions against them were largely viewed as simply being unfair, and all things done to them was illegal under the law. For blacks, however, all of these negative things that were done legal under the law. And so many people thought, and some still think, that the term civil rights were rights for black people. In reality, however, our struggle here in America during the awful days of the civil rights movement, while it has had some redemptive factors, it has also made us, as I stated earlier, children of Dr. King, and that we still think about turning the other cheek, being nonviolent, and working for the good of all. There is an illusion of inclusion in that way of thinking, don't you think?
Who I am, where I come from, and where I am going have been mostly defined by people who claim to know me, but do not. This false pretense continues by those who have attempted to wipe out my history and the history of my ancestors. Each day, the daily news and the nightly news features so-called black leaders and white media analysts who know more about me than even I know. Their claims to be people of intelligence is little more than their personal and opinionated spin that affords them national television FaceTime and allows them to profit on the backs of those whom they do not know at all. I accuse the media and proclaim to you that the media is guilty of perpetuating racism in America by selecting the same talking heads to speak about race, race relations, violence, and police brutality that exist and that persist in our black communities. The media paints a picture on their own treated canvas of us with very limited knowledge that seems to always reflect our discontentment with white America. This approach, I say, helps to alienate an already distrustful group of people. Those of us who live, work, raise our families, and who love the life that living in the Pocono Mountains of Monroe County offers must be careful not to let the events that happens outside isolate us from one another. And we cannot, I repeat, cannot let negative voices put their negative spins on what is reality. The negative events happening throughout America must not be brought to our doorsteps by way of outside negative voices. We must insulate ourselves from these negatives by listening, speaking, and by responding to only the truth and not race. The truth is that we all matter, and we must feel the pain and agony when one of us hurts, for it is our pain. As human beings, we must feel, and we must all feel pain, the same pain. We all matter. If we are listening, and if we are watching what is happening with and to our American young people in general, and to our American young black males in particular, we all must admit that we need leadership, and this leadership must begin at the core, and it must be filled with exactly what real leadership is: truth and honesty. If we are to be successful in addressing and avoiding situations such as the Trayvon Martin shooting in Florida, the Michael Brown shooting in Ferguson, Missouri, and the Eric Garner asphyxiation in New York, we must seek solutions that look past race. Although we are all aware that race is prevalent in many of these situations. But we will never find solutions if we qualify these type of events when they occur just on the base of their being black, white, Hispanic, Latina, Republican, or Democrat. These situations, when they occur, are at the core injustices that exist because of an unjust system being in place that is antiquated. This exists and has existed from the inception of our legal system that, when written, never meant to include or protect many segments of our populations. This exclusion is not only has left out blacks, but it has also excluded women, gays, lesbian, and transgender people. These and other groups were left out deliberately because of the letter of the law, rather than the intent of the law that was structured. Change is so much needed now, and it is needed across this country and each and every neighborhood. In the words of Francis Robilas, it is my opinion and my feeling that time ripens all things. With time, all things are revealed. Time is the father of truth.